It was All Hallows Eve, also called Samhain. It was late at night, 'twas the spirit's domain. The moon was so full I felt its pull, and the planets were in alignment. I saw a shooting star, and felt the urge to emerge from my confinement. Milton Keynes is no place to be, my flat was like a cell, so I got my camping gear out and hiked to the holy well. There I lit myself a fire and rang my sacred bell. I chanted some spells designed to inspire and honour the ancestors' teachings and recognise all they had given me, and hopefully reaching something I could understand that would help my mind to expand and maybe gain some kind of wisdom. That was now my primary goal, to open the window to my soul. I got my drum, I beat out a rhythm, hoping some revelations might come. The fire burned, the fire grew. I drummed till my hands were black and blue, but nothing magical occurred. My efforts were frankly quite absurd, and I realised I felt a bit of a turd. But not one to give up easily, and versed in the Druid's lore, I built my fire higher and higher until I heard it roar. I found more wood to pile on, and I made a bigger blaze. I played and played and played again, till I was in a daze. And still I drummed, my fingers bleeding. I was getting hotter, kept the fire feeding. I reached a heightened state of trance. I knew that it was time to dance. I took off my shoes, I took off my socks. I danced barefoot, heedless of rocks. I whooped and hollered and yelled and sang, my voice so loud down the well it rang. It echoed back, and through the branches a ghostly, eerie sound. I felt vibrations in the air and coming through the ground. I stopped and listened and stood in awe, though I didn't know what I was waiting for. But I felt something mystical was about to take place, right here, right now, in this sacred space. Then, wonder of wonders, from a hollow elm the fairy folk appeared. Their queen wore a crown of metaphor. Their king had a great long beard. And then, as they came near, they removed their royal attire. They said, "Have no fear," and joined my dance around the fire. Their own musicians now played the tune, and sang in praise of the pregnant moon. They passed me a flask of some magic brew. The energy rose and the excitement grew. And then I stripped off my clothes too. My head expanded, my vision blurred, but when it cleared I felt some magic had occurred. I had reached some paradise or other, this I totally knew. Nirvana, Arcadia, Avalon, or was it Xanadu? I saw the world with new insight. All my doubts had taken flight, and everything was so beautiful. A kaleidoscope of colours and patterns emerged right in front of my eyes. My destiny is ruled by Saturn. My karma would be realised. My mind was clearer than it had ever been. My body felt renewed. The music filled my heart with joy. I drank more magic brew. Then the fairy princess arrived, as if by fate it was contrived. Her hair was golden like the sun, her face as innocent as a nun's. But when she shed her silken gown and stood unclothed before me, I looked her up, I looked her down, and suddenly felt quite horny. Her eyes shone red like the sky in the morning. I should have known that was some kind of warning. But she was the most stunning creature I'd ever seen, a truly exquisite figurine. For a moment I could not move. My heart was utterly stolen. I thought she might disapprove that my loins were quite so swollen. The royal couple asked of me, "What is your greatest desire?" I said, "I want the love of your daughter. She's set my soul on fire." Of course I couldn't think straight, my wits inflamed with lust, my overwhelming longing to mate. I knew I couldn't trust my yearning to control itself. Whether she was fairy or elf, I was putty in their hands, suffering the weakness of man's attraction to the physical, although I know it's no excuse at all. I said, "The only cure for my mind is for my body to unwind. I need this release to achieve inner peace. And I'm not being satirical, it's really something spiritual." "She's yours tonight," said the king and queen. "A special deal for Halloween." "Great," I said without a pause, not caring of some hidden clause. They said, "Are you really sure you don't want to know any more?" I replied, "I don't care what the price is. I'm facing an existential crisis." Again, I think I missed my chance to exercise some caution, and the princess joined me in my dance to a point beyond exhaustion. By now I was feeling more than drunk. In fact, I felt quite high. We danced until the moon had sunk beneath the starry sky. We crept into the bushes then. She wrapped me in her arms. She did what women do for men, and beguiled me with her charms. I could never have expected this, and sank into a sleep of utter bliss. I didn't stir at all that night. I didn't even dream any dreams. I slept a sleep of pure delight, the happiest man in Milton Keynes. When I woke in the chill of dawn's first light, my princess has gone, and I felt like shite. I was lying in a patch of nettles, my skin was aflame with stings, my head pounded like a drum, and my hair full of creeping things. The cold had seeped into my bones, my back was bruised by several stones. I shivered and quivered and shivered again. Then came thunder, and it started to rain. In my hand I held a scroll. I didn't know what it meant. But first I had to get my clothes and crawl inside my tent. I read the message with growing horror, and I realized my mistake. I should have known the princess's love was nothing but a fake. I'd struck a deal without meaning to with those tricksy fairy folk. They had control of my future life, and that was not a joke. The fee for a night with the royal princess, requested freely, not under duress, was to be taken to the fairies' domain, for them to use me how they would, and there I would have to remain until my son reached adulthood. You see, they wanted my seed to cross with theirs, their genes now mixed with mine. They needed human-fairy pairs to boost their weak bloodlines. So the princess was with child. At that I have to say I smiled. I did feel used, but not defiled. So when the babe was born, I was taken to the fairy realm. Summer solstice, crack of dawn, through the hollow elm. Feeling regretful and contrite, I ached for the love of the princess. But there was no repeat of that special night, my creation of this mess. I had to stay in my servant's place, and I knew I deserved my plight. I was kept in that world for 18 years, until my boy had become a man. But when I returned, a century had passed beyond my expected lifespan. Everyone I knew was dead and gone. I didn't know how I could carry on. But I'm still here to give you my counsel, and I urge you to listen well. You may think the magic would enrich you, but I came back a hollow shell. My advice to you is, do not be tricked by what you think of as a gift from the fairy folk. I say beware. It's in their nature to be swift to exact a price for pleasure taken from any of their kind. So next time you find you're tempted, just bear that in mind. And be careful what you wish for, or like me, you might get snatched. And look out for what fairies fish for. There are usually strings attached.